Just how big of a role will DJ Lagway play for the Florida Gators in 2024?
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. Happy Friday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started now. And we're at that point in the year where everyone on Florida is winning the Heisman, where everyone on Florida is going to play every single snap of the game. It's training camp time, right? It's fall camp season. But I feel like we get into this every year. We go, oh, these freshmen are going to play. These freshmen are going to play. So today we're going to go through the entire Florida Gators recruiting class. That's not the transfer kids, so high school and JUCO. And we're going to essentially buy or sell. And I would love it if you gave your opinion on this as well. First off, DJ Lagway, buy it. He's playing this year. I don't know exactly what his usage will be early on, but I do know that he's going to play this year. And he's not going to redshirt. I just can't see him redshirting. I see them being packages for him. I don't know how early that's going to happen. Could be the Miami game a little bit, but I do think one thing that people often overlook is that he's still got to know how to play. Like he does. You look at his high school film, it was a lot of broken plays. And he made those exceptional plays. And that's the kind of thing where you watch it like the Caleb Williams at USC when it was the NFL draft time. It's like, oh my God, he's so good when the plays break down. But the thing that you really want to see is being able to keep an offense on schedule as well as having that ability to make plays when things break down. DJ Lagway, to no fault of his own, was not consistently given the opportunity to keep an offense on schedule. He was constantly just pressured in the backfield, making plays with his legs, making plays with his arm, doing a ton of things. I would like to see him, keep an offense on schedule. I do think that in training camp, you will see him get that opportunity. In fall camp, you will see him get that opportunity to just work with offense, like scrimmages, you'll see. He's going to at least get that time, but it's also until he has that down, you'll maybe get just some packages with him. A package with him, 4 receivers, and a running back next to him or behind him. And it's like, yep, well, we're going to try to work some things out and try to spread things out, make some big plays, which is fine. Like that's a package that's totally fine. You look at how Anthony Richardson was used in 2021 early in the year when AR was used consistently week in and week out. And then, about a month into the season when pressure started coming of, hey, you should start AR. That's when Dan Mullen kind of went back into his shell and he was like, no, thanks. And one of the reasons potentially that he, isn't here. But so I think when you look at what DJ Lagway could do, I think that there will be packages for him. I think that as we get later into the season, you might just straight up see him coming out and running the offense for a drive here and there. I don't think he redshirts. I do think he contributes. I think short yardage situations, you probably see him on the field. Not that you're taking the ball out of Graham's hand per se, not that you're giving the ball just to DJ Lagway, but you can go back to 2022 versus Utah. You look at how Billy Napier coached that game, and he was going to what worked. The RPO, the option, he was going to what worked there. And you can also look at just that entire season when you had AR's legs. It was a big threat for him to break off a long run, and defenses had to respect that, and it opened up the running game. You get a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you bring in DJ Lagway, you bring in Montreal Johnson, and you run the option and you go, hey, whichever one of us gets the ball, we are going to truck forward for the first down here. So DJ Lagway is someone that I do think plays and contributes and burns a red shirt. LJ McCrae, the second highest rated player in the 2024 Florida Gators recruiting class. Another one that I think will play. I think will burn his red shirt. And I think that he is going to be, I don't want to say a super consistent part of the defensive game plan, just because I do think that, he's still going to be behind a lot of talent there at both the F and Jack spots. I think he's versatile enough to play both. He's a giant. He's like, he's listed as 6'4.5", 280 on threes, or on 24/7's website when he's coming out as a recruit. And then you look at what he's currently listed as on the Florida Gators most recent site, and he's 6'6", 264. That's a big dude. Princely was playing last year at, I think, 6'5", 250 or like 252 or something like that. He's bigger than Princely already. He's bigger than your Jack was last year. He's got great size. You look at the spring game, and he showed a bit of promise, but a lot of inconsistency. That's going to be a thing. When you look at LJ McCrae's high school film, he was straight up better than pretty much everybody. Not that's a bad thing. He was just better than them. Now he's facing better competition. He needs to develop his game too. Not a knock on him. It's just is what it is. I do think that he'll play enough to burn a red shirt. I think that he's another one where as the season goes on, I think you maybe see him break into the rotation more, especially when you talk about non-quarterbacks and you talk about getting later into the season. You tend to see those guys play a bit more when you're comfortable burning the red shirt. You tend to see them play a bit more, keep fresher legs, keep your veterans fresher. But now that they've been playing for an entire season, all right, we've played 4 weeks in a row. We're going to rotate a little bit, change things, get some more rest there for our veteran players, like our upperclassmen. LJ McCrae, straight up, he was the top defensive lineman in the country last year, 4th player in the country, which is wild that he's also the 3rd player in the state of Florida, but the 4th rated player in the country. Just nuts. But LJ has the skill set to play early and often. I don't think he's going to be, a 10-sack freshman at all. But, you can give you 4. 4 could be enough for him for me at least to say that was a really successful freshman season for him. We only got through 2. We got 18 more to go through. And I'll tell you what, not everyone is going to be a buy on whether or not they're going to contribute as true freshmen in 2024, but we will get to that next on Locked On Gators. With passion, drive, and patience, that's the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance with superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your parts guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. For the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply, and eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free breakfast in the podcast and on YouTube. And I'm bunching these next 2 guys together. And I don't know if I buy or sell. I think I'll buy one, sell one. Who that is to be determined. Aaron Childs and Miles Graham, 3rd and 4th highest rated players in the 2024 class for Florida. And here's my thing. I think it's really tough, and we've had this conversation a million times at this point. I think it's really tough to be a true freshman linebacker in the SEC and come in and play. Especially when you play a team like Ole Miss, where they're going to target your linebackers. They're going to put your linebackers in hell. That's what they do. That's what their RPO game does. They're just like, hey, linebackers, get ready to work. and they're just going to put you through hell there, which I'm not saying is a horrible thing. That's what they do. However, for Florida, your linebackers need to be ready to go. And for true freshmen, like for me, like Aaron Childs, for example, I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's worse than Myles Graham. I don't think anything like that. However, Aaron Childs just got on campus. He is just now beginning his first practices. He is just now being there for the first practices consistently. Myles Graham in the spring was banged up, got shoulder surgery, I believe it was. But he was there. Like, he was seeing things happen. But for really both of them, it's similar to the Elijah Badger conversation we had earlier this week, where it's like, oh, Khalil Jackson is going to start out above him on the depth chart, at least for now, because Elijah Badger doesn't know the playbook. He has not been playing. And you can mentally know the playbook. But to be able to read and react and operate that way, you've got to learn how to do that. And the only way you could do that is by practicing. And so Myles Graham wasn't practicing in the spring with the shoulder surgery. Aaron Childs wasn't here in the spring to be practicing. Things like that, where it's like, well, I don't know if they can come in and do it, because the linebacker, it's more so, or it's more than just, are you good? It's more than just, can you do your job? As a linebacker, it's your job to handle a lot of the communication. Like, we talked about Scooby Williams last year, not a good off-ball linebacker, but the part that he did well, at least, was he communicated. He knew what people were supposed to do. He communicated that well. That you need to be able to do. Like, I was in a Twitter space on Wednesday, I think it was, maybe Tuesday, and we were talking about linebackers, and Derek Wingo came up, and it's like, look, Derek Wingo has his flaws, but he knows his job. He knows how to communicate. That's good enough to get you on a field for a lot of teams. Knowing your job, knowing other people's jobs, and being able to communicate them and direct them, that's huge. I don't know if a true freshman can do that. I do think one of them will eventually rotate in. I know Aaron Childs, build-wise, it looks like he's ready to go. Myles Graham, I think his skill set, just because he was used as a blitzer a lot as an off-ball linebacker, I think that can kind of help you a little bit get involved earlier in the game plan, because it's less about, oh, where am I supposed to be in coverage, and more about, okay, I just get to fire downhill. So I think that helps. Myles Graham might be him as the one that I take as the buy, and Childs as the sell. I think they're both really good. I think they'll both be very good Florida Gators linebackers, but for this year, it's just tough for me with linebackers as true freshmen. Next player is Fletcher Westphal. Think you know where I stand on that one. He is a true freshman offensive lineman. Sell. Thank you very much. Fletcher had a decent spring game. I remember writing the notes, and I was like, look, like he showed the flashes that you look for. He's physical. He's aggressive. He's big. He's athletic. He's really raw, though. He's a true freshman. He's really raw. Needs more power in his punch, too. But he did a lot of things right. He just also did things wrong. And so for Fletcher, I'm going to sell this year. And again, I don't want a true freshman playing. I was thinking with Fletcher, it's like, well, you've got Austin Barber and Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon are expected as starters. You've got Devin Manuel as a backup. You've got Caden Jones also there. Maybe someone else in the mix. Fletcher Westphal shouldn't play right now, and that's a good thing to have. Tight end Amir Jackson is the next player, and I'm going to be honest with you here. I don't think so. I'm going to sell here, and I'm going to continue to sell until I'm proven wrong. I understand that, he hits training camp or he hits fall camp, and people are like, "Oh, this Amir Jackson, size-wise, he's looking built. He's looking good to go." He's still 6'4", 223. It's not a perfect frame. Or let's see what he's listed as now. 6'4" 3/4, so 6'5", 228. I'm not saying he's small, but to be hanging and banging close to the line of scrimmage where you have to be, I don't know. Tony Livingston's 255 and the same height as Amir Jackson. Arliss Boardingham is 245 and almost 2 inches shorter than Amir Jackson. You look at those other pass-catching types, they're still more built there. Like even someone like Keon Zipper is 15 pounds heavier than Amir Jackson, but he's almost 4 inches shorter. It's not a knock on Amir Jackson. I think he needs to bulk up. He's a mid-year enrollee. And I think that on film, he wasn't a good blocker at all. And I really don't view Billy Napier as the kind of coach that's going to go, yeah, you're really bad blocking at tight end, but you're a good pass catcher, so we're going to use you. Dan Mullen, yeah, he did. Kyle Pitts was not good at blocking really throughout his career. I think he was better than people give him credit for, especially his senior season or his junior season before he went to the NFL. He still wasn't very good at blocking. I don't think that Billy Napier is the kind of coach that's going to overlook that. We talk about, Trevor Etienne. And it's like, oh, why wasn't he the lead back? And people try to bring up pass blocking there. If you stick with that, if you say Trevor Etienne wasn't the lead blocker, wasn't the lead back because of his poor pass protection ability, then I feel like you have to also say Amir Jackson won't be a contributing tight end because of his blocking ability. It's more important for that position. And so if you say Trevor Etienne, bad blocker, that's why he wasn't on the field, then you have to keep that same sentiment, if not stronger, for Amir Jackson. I think Amir could be, I've said before, I think Amir Jackson is very, very dynamic. I think he can be really good, but he was playing receiver in high school. He needs to develop as an actual tight end. And even if you go, oh, but he's the pass catching type, you've still got to come in and play and block. You look at what Arliss did. Arliss is thought of as the pass catcher, right? He's in line a lot. He's right next to Hayden Hansen a lot on the line of scrimmage. He's right there. Even if he's the move tight end, he's tight to the line of scrimmage because he has to be able to block. I need to see it. Next is KD Daniels. I don't know. I think that based on the spring that we saw, I think you have to say Jaden Ball would be above him, which would make KD Daniels running back 4. I don't know. I think I'm going to sell for now, but we'll see how things go. Like I've said, I think KD Daniels is the kind of guy that will thrive with a good offensive line because of his vision. Not as much of a dancer, but if the lane's there, he's going to hit it. I think Jaden Ball is better at creating. So we could also go Jaden Ball right now. We'll skip a few people, go to Jaden Ball and say, I'm going to buy on that one. I'm going to buy on Jaden Ball contributing. I think as a pass catcher, he does a good job as well. He played receiver a bit in high school. I think that you can look at Jaden Ball as someone that going to contribute. Think he'll be out there in some way, shape, or form. And I think KD Daniels will get some snaps here and there, but I'm not looking for too much from him. Both of them, it will also determine how much, or it will depend on how much you can contribute as a pass catcher and pass blocker. And I think that's going to be part of it. We've got 10 more Florida Gators to talk about, I think. I do think that we're talking about some guys now that will contribute still as we look down this board. We'll talk about those next on Locked On Gators. I love sports. I love them so much that I never want them to stop. And thank goodness for the Olympics all morning. And then we got baseball in the afternoon, evening, night. Beautiful time right now. FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets any time that I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel's hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. Remember that FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. And the next player on the list is Tank Hawkins, Jure Tank Hawkins. I am going to pair him and TJ Abrams again together because I want to say sell offensively, but I think they'll both be competing for a kick return job. TJ Abrams is pretty good at that in high school. Tank just has freaking dynamic speed. Just he's a speed demon. 5'9", 165 for Tank, 5'11", 175 for TJ Abrams. Their updated sizes on the roster. Abrams is 5'10", 197. Tank is 5'9.5", 176. So that's their updated from 24/7. I think that they both got the speed and skill sets to play early on. I think we're reaching a point where we go, well, we know 4 receivers that are going to contribute are Elijah Badger, Trey Wilson, Chimere Dike, and Khalil Jackson. we can assume that you're going to have at least one of Aiden Mizell or Andy Jean in your rotation. I think you can assume that you'll have a Marcus Burke type in your rotation, someone who's a little bit more veteran, but been around, been able to do it somewhat consistently. Taylor Spirito is still around. I'm not saying he's going to be, a massive contributor, but I will say that popped in the spring game. They like him on campus. He could be a rotational piece before you see some of these freshmen come in. But I also think that both Tank and TJ can play the Trey Wilson role from last year. I'm just not sure if they will. And so that'll be interesting for me. But I think that on special teams, they'll both be contributors. Gregory Smith III, I want to buy. I really want to buy for Gregory Smith III. I just don't think we'll see it. I don't think we'll see it this year. It's just he's playing safety in a room where there's a lot of veteran safeties. And it's not bad veteran safeties. It's good veteran safeties. So that's where I kind of struggle with viewing him as an immediate contributor as a true freshman. It's just he's playing a spot where there's a lot of people. And he looked great in the spring game. I've told you before, I think that in the spring game, he really popped as someone who's just getting after it in a way that I don't think you usually see from guys who've only played the position for a year. He got after it. He was just very quick, decisive, fired at the ball. Great job. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be this year. Same thing with Josiah Davis. I think Josiah Davis might be your star 3, but even then, the coaching staff has talked about, oh yeah, we're going to play all these guys situationally at star. I don't see Josiah Davis cracking that rotation. Then if you're going to have Sharif Denson, Aaron Gates, Asa Turner, they said DJ Douglas, Triquez Bridges, you got all those guys. It's a little bit of a hard sell for me. Mike Williams, offensive lineman, project from the start, great size early on, but true freshman, offensive lineman, I'm going to sell. We already talked about Jaden Baugh. DeAndre Robinson, I don't think we see play much. Defensive line, right now you've probably got 3 guys in front of him at each spot. DeAndre Robinson's listed as 6'3", 307, so he would be the smallest nose tackle that you've got out there. I mean, Mekhi Boy-Rose 351. You've got Jamari Lyons is 304, but he's a bit of a tweener there. You've got Des Watson's, of course, 449. Cam Jackson 342. DeAndre Robinson at 307 is built more like a 3-tech. And by that, you go, okay, well, at the 3-tech spot, you've got Joey Slackman, Caleb Banks, Kelby Collins, Breon Taylor Jr. I don't think DeAndre Robinson contributes much. Breon Taylor Jr. next on the list. I don't think he contributes much right now either, but I think he's got a better chance than DeAndre Robinson. Teddy Foster at corner. That's going to be a no for me, dog. I just don't see it. Now, but also with DeAndre Robinson, important to note that similar to Jameer Grimsley, who is another true freshman, but technically a portal true freshman, DeAndre Robinson is part of the high school class, in quotes, because he was not on campus yet, whereas Jameer Grimsley was on campus at Alabama and then came over to Gainesville. He counts as a portal. I think I'm going to sell on Jameer Grimsley as a contributor right now. Same thing with Teddy Foster, going to sell on there. Looking at what you have at corner, you've got Jason Marshall back. So that's one. You've got Devin Moore back. You've got Jakeem Jackson back. You've got Deshaun Johnson back. And I feel like 4 is usually what you see from this coaching staff. Maybe they want to change things up and rotate even more with Will Harris, but I feel like for the most part, we've seen 4. Mekhi Boy-Rowe, I don't expect to see him contribute this year. Marcus Maskell, also don't expect to see him contribute this year. Same thing with Noah Portniagan and Enoch Wangwe. There are 3 offensive linemen at the bottom of the class, which is a sad spot to be in, that 3 offensive linemen are your bottom 3. But again, they're true freshmen. I don't expect you to contribute. Especially Enoch Wangwe needs to add weight a lot of it. Like he's big. He's the 3rd tallest player on the team, something like that. Yeah, he's the fourth because there's 6'8", 6'7" and 3/4, 6'7" and a half, and then 6'7" for Enoch Wangboy. I think he needs to add a bit there. Just, again, build-wise, being able to play. And also, he's just learning how to play offensive line. He needs a lot of technical development there. His ceiling's really high. He needs a lot of work developmentally. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow. Talk more Florida Gators football for Locked On Gators. Oh, we won't be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. We probably won't be back tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Giants Country and NFL 33, and I'll see you all next time.